Okay, we are live according to the big clock, and let's see who's here. So I just saw the chat. Frank was apparently an hour early, so he might come back a bit later. Wait, oh look, he's back. There you go. Frank, I saw that you sent me that video. I haven't had a chance to download it yet, but I will be checking out. Frank, in his video making world, has been making stuff. And so hello, Frank and Luke and Miss Foxification and Catherine. Nice to see you all. Amaris, how you doing? Thank you for dropping by and saying hi, even if you're too busy to hang around. Yes, I do, in fact, have bugs to eat. Oh, bugs I got for my birthday. Interesting stuff. Hey, Mitchell, a musical aviator. Crazy Aussie pagan. Good to see you all. Just drinking a lemonade to refresh my vocal cords so I can keep talking to you fine people. This light does weird things to my hair. You can see straight through it. Look at it. Yeah, you can see straight through my hair. That's really quite weird. Yeah, I'm going to test something. Hang on a sec. What difference does that make? Not much, really. Okay, what else? Yes, I have mealworms and crickets. Oh, yeah, I think you're right, Frank, that 4K looks better even at lower resolutions, but I'm going to have to power up my PC. My video camera can shoot in 4K, and my editing software can edit in 4K. My PC just goes, oh, slow down there, bucko. I don't think we really want to do this. So I did actually upload a few 4K videos because I could do it without edits, basically, because I was doing stuff in one take. But yeah, the time it took for the render and upload was pretty full on, so I stopped doing that. Hey Keiko, how you doing? Yeah, Pagan, there was obviously the idea of making bug-infused drinks, but they don't taste as much. Now, spoiler alert, I have actually tasted them already. What do I have in here? I have lemon myrtle flavored mealworms. What else is there? Saltbush and rosemary flavored crickets. See, this is Australian bush tucker flavors as well. What's this one? That's more lemon myrtle mealworms. 2 packets of them. They must be good. Chili and finger lime crickets. Chili and garlic crickets. I've got a bunch of flavors of crickets. Only got one flavor of mealworms. I've got white chocolate that has crickets in it. Well, it's like white chocolate with lollies and crickets. Yes, white chocolate with crickets. Crickets have a mild nutty flavor with a crunchy outside. People with an allergic reaction to shellfish can have a similar reaction when eating insects. Yeah, some of our little bug brethren, spiders in particular, are more closely related to crabs than they are to like flies. Catherine, I don't just strain my drinks when I make them. I often run them through filter paper. So, okay, what else is this? Oh, tea. Rivermint, peppermint, and ant tea. So that, okay, that would be for a drink. And this is a little, this doesn't say anything about the flavor, but I think it's ants. There's a little file of ants there. And this is just a couple pieces of rock candy with ants in it. Hey Stella, how you doing? And hello Belinda. I don't even open this. I think this is ants. It's not labeled, but it looks like it's probably ants. Ants in your pants. I don't know if you're meant to like sprinkle this over the top of stuff like pepper or something. Pretty sure it's ants. I think that's a little thing of ants. Oh, and hello, Dr. Obama. How you doing? Luke, oh, Palmer in the news. Yeah, but it's so, God, I wish he'd fuck off. It's not that, like, you know, I don't have huge amount of, you know, hatred or bile for Clive Palmer. He's just fucking pathetic. Yeah, he's so fucking, oh, his 15 minutes are over. Anyway, oh, Stella, I've got a bunch of edible bugs. Got some crickets and mealworms. And this little thing is ants. Adele, you have an irrational fear of it. Okay, well, maybe I won't eat ants in front of you. I don't want to freak you out. But yeah, the thing with Palmer is apparently saying no one expects him to win anything, but he might get enough votes that his preferences could determine who wins some seats, although that remains to be seen. Oh yeah, Ms. Foxification. Of course the Libs are talking about doing a deal with him. Of course they are. Well, you know, you never know, Adele, until you try what you can actually do. Oh, so Belinda, Palmer got another former rugby league player. He tried that once before with Glenn Lazarus and it was a complete disaster. So who knows what will happen? Tentai tastes like chicken. They say it tastes nutty. Who wants to see me eat bugs? Okay, I'm going to try the different flavors of crickets to see if they actually taste different. I've got 3 flavors of crickets: saltbush and rosemary, chili and finger lime, and chili and garlic. Let's see if they taste different. Saltbush and rosemary sounds like the milder flavor. Yes, Agro Pixie, we should definitely yeet Palmer. All right. So, hey, crickets. I got little crickets in the palm of my hand. These are, one seems to have lost his legs and one still has his hoppy legs. I'm not joking. I don't know how well you can see them, but you know, that's a real cricket. Belinda, I agree. Cockroaches sounds bad, but there are some. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of sorts of cockroaches. So yeah, okay. Saltbush and rosemary crickets. Let's see what they taste like. Well, some crickets are bigger. Maybe these got shrunk when they cooked, or maybe they just cooked small ones. I don't know. Well, just crunchy, obviously. Bit salty, maybe. That'd be the saltbush and yeah, not terrible, but not much to them. Belinda, there's a native cockroach in Queensland, the giant burrowing cockroach. In terms of mass, is one of the biggest cockroaches in the world. We had some as pets for a while. They don't live forever, obviously. Some very popular videos of mine with this giant tank of a cockroach crawling across my hands. Adele, oh yeah, Oogie Boogie and The Nightmare Before Christmas. It'd be like eating it. Mofo Sign, having an open democracy meeting tomorrow. Okay. What have I got? Chili and garlic. Oh shit, I dropped my ants. That's okay, they're sealed. Chili and garlic and chili and finger lime. Chili and finger lime might be less... No, okay. See, the giant burrowing cockroach that I had as a pet, it's an Australian native, and it's not a garbage eater like the ones we get in our kitchens and whatnot. It's a plant eater, eats like gum leaves and whatnot. I've got little bits of bug in my mouth because it just crunched up. Keep feeling bits around my mouth. Okay, so these are the chili and finger lime cockroach. Cockroach, they're not cockroach, they're crickets. See how chili they are, because I'm not big on chili, but okay, chili and finger lime. It's a bit different to the... Honestly, there's not a huge variation in their flavour. Yeah, I don't think there's a huge variation in the flavour. The names of the flavours are very, very different. Oh yeah, Dr. Obama, as soon as the Notre Dame fire happened, there were fuckwits saying, "Oh, it was the Muslims did it." No, it was an accident. I understand people thought it was an upsetting accident, but it was an accident. All right, now I'm going to try the chili and garlic. I've got to say cockroach again. It's not cockroaches, it's crickets. So I have a couple of chili and garlic crickets. Oh, I'm going to have to brush my teeth, aren't I? I wonder what my breath's going to be like after these little bits of bugs stuck in my teeth. And there's not a lot of flavour in any of these. The bouquet, that's a good question, Keiko. Let me just smell. It kind of smells like just like a savoury snack, savoury cracker snack. Doesn't taste like much of anything, honestly. Oh yes, I saw Luke PM Scummo publishing a photo at his Happy Clapping Church doing the testify thing. It's like, this guy's a fucking nutter. A cocktail to wash them down, Luke, or as Keiko says, a cockroach tail. Yeah. Okay. This is the last one I'll try. Look, this is mealworms. So they look, in all honesty, they kind of look like maggots, but they're very dry. It's just like the husks, I think. This is supposed to be lemon myrtle flavored. So these are all Aussie bush tucker flavored. God, there's not. These taste better. Okay, got the definite. Okay, this one has a definite lemon myrtle flavor in it. The other ones just tasted vaguely salty, vaguely garlicky. Those actually have a lemon myrtle flavor. See, that might be good infused in a drink to get lemon myrtle. Although I've actually got tea, that would be a bit more appropriate. Tea, mint tea with ants in. You heard about earwax, heretic? Oh yeah, Frank. Anning's Easter egg tweet was fucking ridiculous. Oh, look who's come to join us. I'm going to say hello, Mimsy. Hello, Mimsy. You say hello? Yes. I want to say hello. Yeah. Don't think I'd like to eat a lot of them, but we might not have much future choice in the future. It'd be just like bugs and algae for food when all the animals, including the farm animals, die out, which is a better than average chance in the next 100 years, which is a cheery thought. I don't think Mimsy eats bugs. I'll see. Do you want a bug, Mimsy? Can you smell it? Can you smell it? No one. Do you want one? Smell it? No? No? Okay, I'll have it. Tenda, I think I should try mopane worms, aka caterpillars. Well, the Australian delicacy, witchetty grubs. They apparently taste like nuts. Brett, it's a big question for vegans about bugs. If in a future where the environment's so degraded and so many of the animals die out, it's not practical to farm animals for meat, or practical or possible, would vegans object to us eating bugs? Because that's, you know, millions and millions of bugs. So here's my white chocolate with bugs. I don't think there's any bugs in this bit. Maybe residual bug flavor in my white chocolate. I think it's funny. There's probably some people who are more grossed out by white chocolate than by bugs. Occasionally get really extreme reactions to the fact I like white chocolate. Serious chocolate eaters. It's not even chocolate. It isn't chocolate. Chocolate is black and bitter. All right, settle down, Tiger. I'm just telling an imaginary person to settle down. You know, like literally straw manning there. There we go. Oh, look, I don't mind going vegan. I'm just really lazy. Well, Belinda, I'm not surprised the vegan cheeseburger from Hungry Jack's is disgusting. Hungry Jack's is not a place I'm going to go to for vegan food. There is a long list of places I would go to for vegan food before Hungry Jack's. But in terms of the actual, you know, the big name fast food places, their fucking bacon cheeseburger is my favorite. Yeah, she's very interested in something, isn't she? She looks like she's hunting. She's very interested in something. She has delusions of being a hunter. I see her in the backyard sometimes. There'll be birds and she'll be in this real stalky pose as if she's going to leap, but she never leaps. She just strikes a pose and never actually attacks. Mitchell, is the bugs that taste like chocolate? And no, but you can put bugs in. I've got bugs in the chocolate. Cockroaches in this chocolate. So yeah, Stella, you're right about, in general terms, vegans would say bugs are out of bounds because they even hardcore vegans refuse to consume foods that are artificially pollinated because they say that's an unnatural use of animals, bees. So they won't have honey and a lot of farmed fruit that uses artificial pollination from bees. Frank, you're asking the big questions. Who's dumber, Clive Palmer or Eric Abetz? I'd say Eric Abetz. Clive Palmer's more dishonest and shifty, and even more self-serving than Abetz. But Abetz is just this crusty old fuckwit whose brain is trapped somewhere in the 1950s and thinks his views are all relevant to the world today. So you think all cats have the hunter delusion? Well, see, lots of cats are actual hunters and killers. Mimsy doesn't even try. She just sort of sits there. AngryPixie, you hung out at a ferret rescue today. That sounds like fun, playing with ferrets. Only one of them tried to eat you. Fair enough. Hey, Pat, happy Easter to you too, buddy. Dr. Obama, what leaked IPA document are we talking about? So one wasn't actually leaked. It was one of their publicity things about, 15 things a re-elected LNP should do and 5 they shouldn't. And it's just like, holy fuck, they're morons. They super fucking stupid. And now we're talking about what the cats actually try, bugs and spiders. Yeah, cats do actually like chasing bugs. And as I've mentioned before, it's not that long ago, there's a dead, I'm pretty sure it was a small rat. It's either a large mouse or a small rat. I think it was a small rat, baby rat type thing, dead in our hallway. Thankfully not dismembered, because cats sometimes rip things apart and bring them into the house. This one was just dead with no apparent sign of injury. So one of the cats killed it and sort of left out, look what I did. I killed the thing. I'm fucking awesome. I don't know which of the two it was, but one of them did it. Dr. Obama, you're talking about that. Yeah, that was not so much leaked as in something they promoted. It was really fucking stupid. It just really highlight. In fact, what I'll try and do is find it and go through it, because it's supremely stupid. Yeah, the IPA's to-do list. Institute Public Affairs. Because okay, that's fucking weird. Why is it doing that? The Institute of Public Accountants. Voice for Freedom. Jesus Christ, they're fucking stupid. It's just, I can't actually find it now, but it was absolutely ridiculous and absolutely out of touch. Here it is. I found it actually. It's one of their most significant publications, according to their own website. Okay, so this is what they think the Conservative government should do. Okay, for some reason they're making me click twice to see it. Okay. Remove all references to race in the Constitution. Spoken like true white people. Oh, and they invoke Martin Luther King. What a bunch of cocks. Repeal Section 18C of the Racial Discrimination Act. Yeah, because people are really holding you fuckheads back from being racist. Withdraw from the Paris Climate Agreement. I don't care so much about the Paris Agreement as I do about actual real change on the face of climate policy. Implement a flat income tax, because every fucking responsible economist in the world has said that's a dumb as shit idea. Reduce the corporate tax rate below 20%. This is a funny one. I didn't know they cared about this. Appointment of High Court justices to be rotated between 6 states and the Commonwealth. Oh, they're saying the Commonwealth government's too big, so the states should have a chance to occasionally appoint a High Court justice. It's weird. Wow, this is weird. Double the size of the House of Representatives and halve the size of the ministry. So they think this is, I don't know. They think electorates are too large and smaller electorates would elect people more answerable to the people. Okay. Privatize the ABC, get fucked. Reintroduce the debt ceiling. Well, it's fictional, but, you know, whatever. Hold a royal commission into the Bureau of Meteorology's tampering with temperature and climate data. Oh no, the tinfoil hats are coming out. Abolish compulsory superannuation. Yeah, just have a decent pension system, sure. Abolish the renewable energy targets and end subsidies to wind, solar. Well, make the coal and electricity generators pay back the trillions of dollars in subsidies they've had in the last century. Fucking morons. Oh, I've heard this one. I think Republicans in the US have said this. Introduce a 1 in, 2 out approach to reduce red tape. If you want to introduce a new regulation, you have to get rid of 2. It's just like, you can, on the surface, you can say that's not totally without merit, but it's stupid and arbitrary and acts as if all regulation is equal. And they're just dickheads. Repeal the Fair Work Act. Get fucked. Drag the bosses out of the factories and set them on fucking fire. Fuck you, you fucking Nazi fucks. Legalize nuclear power. No one wants nuclear power. Get fucked. God, they're a bunch of morons. They're an absolute bunch of morons. Yeah, Belinda, this is the IPA's wish list that I just finished. Tendai, go on, Chapo. I don't think Chapo would bother to notice my existence. For those who don't know, Tendai is referring to a fairly big American podcast with these guys, and it is mainly guys. They do have at least one semi-regular female pod member, Chapo Trap House, that's called. And they are, on the American scale of things, self-proclaimed socialists. And I do find them entertaining to listen to because they don't give a fuck. They love attacking the establishment Democrats as much as the Republicans. And they don't give a fuck who they upset, which, look, honestly, on occasion leads them to say quite stupid things. But I feel like a big part of their thing is, you know, just getting up in people's faces, waking people up, be aggressive. I get into it. Luke, I'm sure the IPA is very concerned about chemtrails. Oh, Megaleech, you missed Buggy. I'll eat some more. These were my favorites. Lemon myrtle mealworms. Got to get a couple to get any sort of flavor. You can see they look like mini witchetty grubs or something. You've probably seen mealworms before, anyway. But I swear, I don't know if they've dry roasted them or whatever, but this is just like husks. It's just like crunchy husks. There's nothing to them. The lemon myrtle flavor was the best flavor. I think, yeah, I was just thinking, you maybe crush that up and use it as salt. That could be a good thing. Crushed up lemon myrtle mealworms as a seasoning on top of things. Intoxication, does it say how many grams of oh, it does. Okay. This is the nutritional information. But lemon myrtle mealworms. Per 100 grams, 401 kilojoules. There's a bit of energy in them. 30 grams of protein per 100 grams. So they're 30% protein. So if you're big on your protein, well, 18 grams fat per 100 grams. So they're pretty fatty. Maybe they fried them. Maybe that's the thing. 4 grams of carbs, 168 milligrams of sodium. So there's a decent whack of protein and fat in these. Dr. Brown, what are you saying? Clive isn't running for the House, he's running for the Senate. Oh. Justin, you raise a good point. The high enrollment, and it's like apparently over 98% of eligible voters are enrolled, and there's been a particular surge in young voters. And you raise a decent point. That's like karma to the Liberals for their marriage equality vote. A lot of young people enrolled specifically for that. And obviously, you know, a decent chunk of young people, and by young I'll say under 25, a decent chunk of young people will vote Conservative, but overall, that high voter enrollment is super bad. Okay, here's a white chocolate. You see, there's a cricket, and there's a cricket, and there's some M&Ms in it as well, M&M minis. So I'm going to have a bit of white chocolate with cricket. I see we're making Clive Palmer can't run jokes. He asks for it, honestly. Man. Dude, I'm eating bugs. Stella, I see Luke talking about chemtrails. Stella saying he used to bang a guy who's into chemtrails and conspiracies. Great sex, crazy sex, but they're still crazy when you're not having sex. I have to admit, I've been in that scenario in the past as well. And I did have a friend who actively sought out unstable and irrational partners because he thought it made life more exciting. And the rest of us told him to stop it. Just going like, we all catch fallout from you and your bullshit. You think it's funny, and but we have to deal with it as well. All right. Now this is not even that great white chocolate. It's got a bug in it. It's got a cockroach. Make it a bit crunchy. Mitchell, if there are small parties who best represent what you want in the world, then go and vote for them. There's a really good comic someone published on the internet. You'll probably find it by just searching on "you can't waste your vote in Australia," and it explains the preferential voting system. And so the idea of your vote on a minor party being wasted is wrong in two ways. One is because sometimes independents and minor parties win, and it often takes them a few cycles to build up the support to where they can win. But two, because of preferential voting, if they're not in the running, your vote for them goes to the next choice, and whoever gets in actually sees what level primary vote the independent or minor party had, and it can influence them. Go, okay, my electorate has pretty strong support for those causes. I should take that into account when I'm in Parliament because it's important in my electorate. So if there's a small party who most represents your view, most definitely. Hey, Mystery and Night. Just eating white chocolate with cockroaches in it. Not cockroaches, crickets. Why do I keep saying cockroaches? Oh, Renee Lee. Not only is the fine for not voting not that much of a deterrent, I had it once in the past because I went to a polling booth and gave them my name, and they said I wasn't on the electoral roll, and I went, well, whatever. Even though I could actually see my name, and they just missed it for some reason. I wanted to see what happened, and I went, okay, whatever. And yeah, I got a show cause notice, and I just replied, and it was true. I said, I rocked up to the polling booth, I told them my name, they looked at the electoral roll and said I wasn't on the roll. What am I going to do? And that was the last I ever heard of it. Now, Ms. Fox, I don't think donkey votes go straight to the incumbent party, because I think they do a lottery draw for what order people appear on the paper. The election is May 18th, Mitchell, yes. A Saturday. 3 weeks from this Saturday, I guess. 3 weeks from me doing what I have already promised will be a very drunken live stream of the election results. So, you know, people who are like-minded with me should join in for the party. People who hate me should join in just in case the long shot of the government winning happens, because then you'll get to see me upset, because I'm not going to pretend otherwise. I would be genuinely upset by the government retaining power. Dr. Obama, Justin answered. Donkey vote is just numbering the person at the top, number one. If you have to number them all, you just go 1, 2, 3, 4. So that, some people do that as like a protest. But yes, it's generally called a donkey vote. That's okay, Frank. Yes, you heard the date, you thought it was April 18th, but it was actually May 18th. Oh, Adele, I mean, look, again, I've never been secretive about my political leanings, but I'm not joking. I think another term for this government would be disastrous for Australia. Be disastrous economically, socially, culturally, environmentally, any way I could think of. Workers' rights, education, health, every major policy would be utterly fucked by another term of this government. It's up to Labor to do better. Dr. Obama, what do they do when someone scribbles on the paper? It's declared invalid. All the parties have people called scrutineers. And they look at the vote, and if they think ballot hasn't been filled out correctly, they'll contest it. And then there's a way of saying, okay, yeah, that's not a valid vote, it doesn't count. But they are kept in case the result is really close, and then they're assessed again. Mitchell, would I start my own party? No, politics is shit and would be a shit thing to do to my family. So no. Justin, I don't think I've ever watched You Can't Ask That. I've seen little 5-minute grabs of it. An ex-politician episode would either be interesting or boring. Okay, that's a really deep and insightful thing I say there, isn't it? That episode would either be interesting or boring. As in, if the politicians were genuinely honest, it could be therapeutic. But if they were just the usual self-serving shit that politicians do, it would be boring. Frank, people add you because they think you're a lefty, but then they find out you're actually traditional conservative. Yeah, and I've got to admit, okay, I've known Frank for years and know like he's a Tory, like pro Margaret Thatcher and all these things, and we get on just because, well, neither of us talk shit, basically. Well, you know, obviously there are people who think I talk shit, and there are people who probably think Frank talks shit, but we see eye to eye, so that's fine. But yes, I can see some people thinking like, oh, I think Frank's lefty just because he's rational. And it's got to be pretty frustrating from your point of view, Frank. The people who are loudest in proclaiming themselves to be conservative in the public sphere, not just the internet and the media as well. They're blithering fucking idiots. The people who proclaim loudest they're the voice of conservatism are fucking morons, and that's got to suck. It's kind of like if some real sort of stereotype, never take a bath, crusty white person with dreads and dolphin tattoos who thinks we've got to all love the earth, man, acts as if they're my spokesperson. Like, no, but they're the minority, and they don't have a public platform. The people who have a public platform, who proclaim themselves the voice of conservatism, are like, fucking dig it. Well, I'm glad you got some you like, Frank, Nick Poles and John Burkow. Well, I'm glad there are some that you can actually think, oh, well, thank fuck there's someone saying there. Because I don't know who an Australian would say. I mean, okay. Yeah, no, anyone who says any of the fucking leading lights of the fucking Liberal Party are there, people say, no. Yes, I'm going to get really drunk. I blend if Scott Morrison loses his seat, that would be a special drink. There's a few that get a special drink if they lose their seat. Tony Abbott, Peter Dutton, Scott Morrison, although I think he's a long shot. George Christensen. I think I'll have a drink for Josh Frydenberg. And also in my local seat, which Labor has never won. So if Labor win my seat, which they've got a reasonable chance of doing, I'll drink. I'm not banking on Pauline Hanson because I think she's getting back in. Tim Wilson, that's him, Dr. Obama. He's so fucking smug that. And it's this bullshit of the ones who are trying to distance themselves from their own party. Tim Wilson's one of the ones who's put on his election posters, he's a modern liberal. It's like, get fucked and stop trying to distance yourself from your own party, you wanker. I'm going to overdo it, Luke. But I'll have a couple drinkies on election night. You are right, Brett, in that the formal term for an incorrect vote is an informal vote. If it's declared invalid, yes, they just call it's informal. It's like if you write "fuck you all" on the paper. It's an informal vote. Justin, what if Labor wins Higgins? Who's running? Who's running in Higgins? Tim Wilson wears mascara. He certainly is pretentious. He's absolutely. Oh, Catherine, I'll definitely try and invent a few drinks for election night. And I've got different coloured things. So I definitely do like, like a red scare. A lot of the conservative media go, oh, no, Labor is like, communist unionists in control. That's ants, Mimsy. She's sniffing the vial I dropped on the floor. She's interested in it. It's ants. I don't think you want to eat it. Also, it's sealed, so you can't get it, but Oh, actually, Ms. Fox-Cashin, you're absolutely right. A donkey vote is a correctly completed vote. Yes. Yeah, that's counted. A donkey vote is counted. An invalid vote is called informal. That's if you haven't clearly marked it. Frankie, Miss Foxification has strong Google foo. She will always look up the stuff we're discussing and get the answers for us. Very, very useful skill. Oh, are you moving house, Adele? You're going to watch while having a drink and packing a house. Fuck, I hate moving. I haven't had to do it for 2 years. And prior to that, it had been 10 years. And so, of course, living in one place for 10 years and then moving was a fucking disaster. Worst experience of my life. Frank and Mr. E bonding, but you don't want to say bro fist, Frank, because it sounds too much like PewDiePie. I'm going to pick up my ants before I forget them. They're just down here. Yeah, get real, Mimsy. I'm not getting you food. I'm just picking up the ants. Like, I move. She goes, wait, are you getting me food? Everyone should get me food. A little vial of ants. I'm going to call the people because these weren't labeled. And I go, little thing that I think is ants. What's the idea with them? So maybe you're meant to use these like salt or pepper. Maybe they got pepper in them. I wasn't in Sunshine for 10 years, Luke. I was in St Kilda East for 10 years. I was in Sunshine for 5 years, though. Well, between Footscray and Sunshine, anyway. Sis, oh my God, this foxification here. You're going for the feminine equivalent of a bro fist, a sis fist. You are right. I think that that's probably a bad thing to Google, unless that's your thing, of course. Oh God, how to vote on the Senate paper. Mitchell, that's a good one to make sure you know the minimum number of things, because there is a minimum number. If you vote above the line or below the line for that matter, there's a minimum number of squares you have to fill in for the vote to be valid. And I'm not 100% sure what they are. And I feel like Miss Foxification is probably looking that up as we speak, but I know there is a minimum number. You don't even have to number everything above the line, but there is a minimum number that you have to fill in above the line and below the line for your vote to be counted. Wow, Adele, you're going to go below the line and number them all. That's like 300 something people, isn't it? Below the line, it's going to end up being like 300 people. Great pleasure in putting the person you hate most last. Okay, did you look that up, Justin? You've got to do 6 above the line or 12 below the line for that to count. And from that point on, the party's preference deals kick in. Dr. Obama, definitely vote for Penny Wong in the Senate. She is probably my... No, not probably. She's my favorite Australian politician. I think she is awesome. When she goes, people, it's fucking beautiful. It's poetry. When Penny Wong goes, people, they know they've been gone. I tell you that. I'll tell you that much for free. Sarah, hello to you in Bozeman, Montana. Been sub since 2010. Thank you very much for your support over those many years. And I hope things are good in Montana. Well, I guess it depends which part of Montana you're in, but from my understanding, it's quite a nice part of the world. Adele, you're into Sarah Hansen. Yeah, I'll be honest. While some individual greens I'm okay with, I don't really have a lot of time for the Greens as a party, and there's a few reasons for that. But yeah, I love that, Stella. Vote below the line, especially when the minister in charge of the internet was kicking around, so he put him dead last. Is that what's his name? Oh, how soon we forget, because he was a colossal. If we're thinking of the same person, he was a colossal arsehole. The mountains of Montana. Nice. Yes. I've seen photos of some of the mountains in Montana. That does sound nice. That's it. Con job. Conroy. Stephen Conroy. Thanks, Miss Foxy. That's who I was thinking of. As soon as someone goes on about Minister of the Internet, he fucked everything up, I always think Stephen Conroy. Because the concept of the NBN, fucking awesome. His execution of it and oversight as minister was shit and slowed everything down. He alienated Telstra so much that they deliberately slowed down progress. And because not much progress had been made when Labor lost power, the Libs were able to shit can and destroy the whole thing. Whereas if Conroy had actually worked with Telstra instead of going, I don't have to work with Telstra, and got shit happening, it would have progressed so far by the time Labor lost office, that the Libs wouldn't have been able to fuck it up. But he, reckon, you know, he just fucked it up with his fucking ego, basically. Dale, Sarah Hanson Young's also a graduate of your uni. There you go. Oh, yeah, I don't have any objection. She's one of the ones I don't have any objections to. But some of the shit fighting that goes on in the Greens, and I guess I'm also a bit miffed that they get to mouth off and take the high moral ground on everything because they're never going to be in government. So they're never going to have to follow through on anything they say, which again, most of what they say, I completely agree with, but I just think they're a bit fucking glib when they say stuff because they're never going to have to act on it because they're never going to be in power. So the moral superiority they project quite often gets up my nose a bit because it's just like, well, you don't have to ever take responsibility for anything you say. And so that fucking glib attitude is not great. Oh, Justin, trams running in Canberra. Nice. Nice. Bit of light rail. It's a good way to get around. Frank, yes, I do know the difference between you being serious and, as you put it, you're just an autistic sarky twat. Dr. Okay, you watched a doco on the Gillard years. Why was Gillard hated so much? It's fucking misogyny. There is no two ways about it. She was a little overly generous in her farewell speech to Parliament when she said sexism wasn't everything, but it wasn't nothing. That's a bit fucking generous, quite honestly, because again, I'm, on the older side of things and associated with older Labor types, and there were particularly a lot of vocal older Labor men who were very open about, I don't want some fucking bitch telling me what to do. There was an incredibly hostile reaction from a lot of people to the idea of a woman being in control, and pretending otherwise is just horseshit. Dell, I agree that whole leadership fights in Labor were fucking ridiculous. And that's one of the reasons I can't bring myself to be an active advocate for Bill Shorten, because he was the prime fucking instigator of Gillard offing Rudd and then Rudd offing Gillard. And then he got rewarded with the leadership. That was horseshit as far as I was concerned. He was fucking central to their problems. Dr. Bromley, okay, you can't remember why you had such negative feelings with Gillard. Probably because of the constant media barrage that was almost 100% consistently negative. Mr. O'Neill, you have a few suggestions to throw out to consciously combat rising hatred towards left by otherizing us. I'm intrigued. I'd be very interested to know what you're thinking about there. Sorry, Frank, no, you're going slightly tangential, but I agree. It's, you get those aggressive anti-feminist types who go straight to calling women bitches, and then say the reason they can't get any action is because, no, I'm refusing to date women. It's the protest. It's like, wow, just like, put your dick in a blender, mate. It's like, I don't know. Okay, Justin, I'll be a bit mean. You're saying Aussie House of Cards would have Bill Shorten as Frank Underwood. Shorten's not that smart. Shorten's not that devious. he's a fucking. He has, look, I have hopes that under him, Labor government will be very good. I hope they have good policies. I think he has the potential to be a worthwhile leader. I think once he's not opposition leader, I have high hopes that he'll stop being so fucking scared, because I feel like all his actions for the last, well, most of the time he's been in opposition has been, oh, don't say anything too outrageous, just sit here and wait for them to fall over themselves, which has proven to be very effective, but I think is bullshit, and he should take a more distinct stand and fucking inspire people. But I find it very hard to be a banner bearer for Shorten, but I have high hopes for a very good Labor government with him at the helm. I think he does have a good team. I think he has the capacity to be a good leader. Maybe when he's leader, he'll actually fucking take a stand on various things and stop being so paranoid about what the fucking Liberals might say about him. And I mean, yeah, he comes from the union movement, and I regard that as a plus. As again, I just love it when right-wing pundits say things and they're saying it like it's a horror story, but they don't realize how they're saying to the majority of the population, like people in the center and people on the left, what they're saying sounds great. They go, oh, if Shorten gains government, then the power in the workplace will move away from the company CEOs and there'll be more power to unions. Fucking ace, mate. That is long overdue. That is so long overdue. But yeah, they say it like it's the worst thing in the world, and it's really funny. Mr. 9, you're trialing how to be happy. That's always a good thing to do. Always a good thing to do. Oh, yes, Adele, he has done the occasional thing, like speaking out really strongly against conversion therapy, which is just torture of gay teens. Like it's criminal, brutal torture, as far as I'm concerned. And they've done one or two strong stands on stuff. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Luke, I think Bill refused to commit to increasing New Start. I think he's looking to increase minimum wage. I think he's been a bit shy about committing to improving New Start, but that's something that should definitely happen. Oh, yes. Well, we now know where the boundary is. Frankie asking, was I surprised when Scummo spoke out against old 19-vote numpty and his hideous fucking victim-blaming racism? I mean, you know, and since then it's even been outed he has a bunch of ultra-right white nationalists and neo-Nazis on his staff, which he himself may be unaware of, because it's been repeatedly exposed over the last year or two. The young alt-right crowd, which is just a bullshit way of saying they're fucking ultra bigots, you know, they're somewhere on the spectrum of white supremacists and neo-Nazis. They've been infiltrating the National Party, the Liberal Party, and turns out Fraser Anning's office. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, Anning blaming people who were killed by a terrorist for the terrorism, that's apparently the limit for the Liberal Party. They'll go along with Pauline Hanson saying it's okay to be white, but not Fraser Anning. Oh my God, Dr. Obama, are you saying Scummo actually came out and defended gay conversion therapy? Well, I fucking hate him so much, so much. That is pure fucking evil. Pure fucking evil. Ugh, Jesus Christ. This is why I think, even for the good of the conservative movement, this bullshit move to the hard right that happened under Abbott, and Turnbull was too spineless to attempt to change, and they still knifed him anyway. And now Scummo with his fucking fruitcake happy clapper evangelical church bullshit. They need to understand that pandering to the 25-30% of the population that's hard right alienates the other 70+% of the population. You can't govern that way. You can't govern to the favor of a minority like that. It's fucking ridiculous. Mr. 09, you want to transform identity politics further by using alternative language to invert expected expectations. I'm interested. What are the specifics you think of there? Oh, God, Dr. Brum, did he really do that bullshit federal state thing as his cop-out? Fuck that. And yeah, it's just a lie. Well, the federal has no right to determine what states do. Bullshit. He pulls shit all the time, forcing the states to do particular things because the federal government says so. That's always a fucking lie. And isn't it? Because you get people saying that in the US as well. They go, oh, states' rights. No, fuck you. You just outed yourself for what you are. And that whole states' rights thing is a bullshit smokescreen. We're at the halfway mark. I'm just thinking, last couple of live streams at the halfway mark have actually done a themed cocktail. I don't know if I've got a theme. Don't want to put any of the bugs in a cocktail. Not tonight, anyway. What's my cat doing? Whatever she wants, really. But yeah, exactly, Frankie, yes. Scummo is federal politics. So him saying federal government can't tell states what to do is a spineless fucking lie. Because if it suits his ideology, he goes, yep, we're introducing this law. But yeah, if he wants to, him saying, oh, support the states' rights to have gay conversion therapy, is like, get fucked. That's just saying you support gay conversion therapy. And because you can out it. It's like, well, if a state introduced a thing saying employers were allowed to ban Christians from the workplace, would you go along with that? No, neither would I. It would be unreasonable. But you're an inconsistent, lying sack of shit. And when it's a policy that you agree with, you say, oh, states' rights. And if it's one you disagree with, you go, no, can't do that. You want to make individual stands together, try and fit into the chat room, used to stay quiet. Oh, dude. You feel free to suggest topics of conversation. Yeah, if you're not a big Star Wars fan, that's completely okay. I love the fact that we talk about, God, anything and everything in here, just ramble all over the shop. I really enjoy that. So never be shy about wanting to raise a particular topic of conversation, even if you think it's outside the things we normally talk about. I'm very big on that. Dr. Brahma, UAP and an LNP cocktail. Ugh, that just sounds toxic. But I do have to try and get creative. What I've been making flavor things recently. I've got a herbal one, a peppermint one, a caramel one. God, maybe I'll just go old-fashioned because I've got my my butterscotch, my scotch with I dissolved butter balls into rock candy. What can I put in it? Have I got bitters here? Cola bitters and rosemary bitters and lime bitters. That could be good. Okay, I might even just do something. Yes, Justin, I have to think of what an election victory cocktail is. I have to plan. I have to plan for election night, I think. Yes, Belinda. Unless, does the Canberra Times have a direct quote of Morrison saying gay conversion therapy is wrong? Because that, up to the states to stamp it out, is like, oh, get fucked. Yeah, look, Mystery 09, you're certainly not alone in dealing with things. There are people who deal with depression, with anxiety, with other things. As to go for cliches, I hope this is a safe space for everyone who's not a dickhead. It's a very unsafe space for dickheads. Print out a picture of Scummo and rip it up on election night. I like that, actually. Do it. Was that Sinead O'Connor style when she did it to the Pope? Straight vodka on the rocks. An election lost cocktail would not be good. No, I think I'd go straight from the absinthe from the bottle, Musical Aviator. Yeah, look, and I'll be honest, Morrison is a lying, shifty politician. And if he's going, oh, it's up to the states, get fucked, you know. Unless he 100% equivocally says conversion therapy is immoral, wrong, unscientific, he's talking shit. And again, him and his states' rights. If one state tried to go, oh, you know what we're going to do? We're going to legalize recreational marijuana. He'd stamp on that in a heartbeat. His whole states' rights thing is a fucking lie. It's an absolute fucking lie. And I fucking hate that sort of hypocrisy. I know what I'm going to make it very simple. Possibly, I suppose you get gin and tonic. That's like the simplest cocktail, or a screwdriver, or a Bloody Mary. They're only one thing. I'm going to do an old-fashioned, or my version of an old-fashioned. Got to get the proper glass, which is not really an old-fashioned glass, but I like drinking out of this one. You know, I could be a ponce and say I need to get a whiskey glass, but I got my cut glass tiki mug. You'll notice, by the way, I'm in my bathrobe. Look how high I've got. Why is it? I look like a weird old man with the knot all the way up there. I don't know what's all I'm going to do. I'm going to off camera, although you can see my reflection doing it. I don't know why that was tied up so high. Made me look very weird. Arguably, I just look weird all the time. But anyway, so I want a big block of ice. Okay, that. I'll do a square one because they're easier to get out. My very large square blocks of ice. Put one of them in there. Put that back. It's my butterscotch in the old Crystal Head vodka bottle. Decanter I use now. Right. So, where's my jigger? I want to know how much I'm putting in here. I've got a jigger here. Where to put it? Oh, it's over there. What's it doing over there? Right. So, an old-fashioned is basically just whiskey. Whiskey of your choice. Scotch, bourbon, rye, whatever. This is blended Scotch. This is Johnny Walker Black Label, I think. It was on special at Costco. And it's sweetened, sugar syrup, or in this case, I actually dissolved some rock candy in there and bitters. Usually just the Angostura bitters or orange bitters. I'm going to go for a bit different. I've got lime bitters. I'm putting some lime bitters in there. Oh yeah. Sorry, I just saw Mr. Unknown. You know who Shazine is a she. I know Shaz. Well, I know Shaz through Frank. Shaz just got married, didn't she? But yeah, I like Frank's really open, as he had expressed really Islamophobic views, and Yang Shazin very calmly talked to him and explained misconceptions, and Frank, to his credit, fucking listened. I know what I'm going to put in here. Wow, that fucking scotch is... I don't drink scotch that often. It's much smokier than bourbon. Wait, where's my agave? Bloody hell, losing track of things. I'm an old man. My brain doesn't work. Hey, Mimsy, what are you looking at? There it is. That's what I wanted. Oh yeah, look, like Frank says, I consider myself a supporter of feminism. I personally think by definition I'm not feminist because I'm not female. And I know some, both men and women, are completely at ease with the concept of male feminist. I don't hold it against anyone, but it's not it's not something that bothers me particularly. But yeah, I don't call myself a feminist. I support feminism thing. Definitely I need nursing home. Oh, Miss Fox Cash, I like that. Kamala Harris is the second Democrat who's declared they're running for president, called for impeachment proceedings against Trump. That's nice. It's about time they showed some spine. I mean, Jesus, just compare the Democrats now, when there's overwhelming evidence of criminal activity by Trump and everyone around him, and them going, oh, I don't know if we should do impeachment. Compare that to the Republicans against Clinton, and their big thing was he got a blowjob in the White House, which again, separate issue. I think that was an awful abuse of power by Clinton, regardless of whether or not Lewinsky was consenting or even actively pursuing it. It was the most extreme imbalance of power imaginable, and he was very much wrong for doing it. Justin, it's it. They're reporting about the terrorist bombings in Sri Lanka being reported as revenge for Christchurch. One, be very cautious of the government in Sri Lanka. They're not very trustworthy. They're quite totalitarian. But two, I mean, whether it's directly related, I mean, the people involved, well, they killed over 300 people, scum of the fucking earth, absolute garbage, terrorist filth, attacking the Easter Sunday services, absolute inexcusable garbage filth, absolute scumbags. I wouldn't be surprised at radical Islamic extremists being upset about the mosque shootings in Christchurch and using that as a rallying cry for extremism of their own. But I mean, those attacks in Sri Lanka, absolute abomination, absolute gutless, worthless terrorist scum. Mr. 09, that's a big positive thing you say there. Subvert expected feelings. Instead of focusing on what divides, just support people who express themselves in a healthy manner. I'm on this. Oh, Mr. 09, you're all right, are definitely cannibalizing themselves. The infighting is hilarious. And the similar things have happened in Australia, because a decent chunk of these right-wingers they're not just Islamophobes, which is where you've had Zionists join forces with them saying, Yeah, we both hate Muslims. But a decent chunk of them are white supremacists and anti-Semites. So you've ended up with very funny things behind closed doors of an ultra right-wing Jewish person sort of going like, yeah, we're together against the Muslims. And then they have to cope with, actually, those people you're championing, they all hate you because you're Jewish. And they mostly keep it under wraps in public, but they really hate you because you're Jewish. It's ridiculous. And whether that's Ben Shapiro in the US or Avi Yemeni here, it's very funny when they align themselves with actual neo-Nazis who then comes out they hate them. I see talk about the talking clock. For those who aren't familiar, this is a thing that's been around for ages. It's an incredible thing. You used to be able to call 1194 free call, and you get something that would tell you the very precise time. And the voice would say in this very proper tone, at the third stroke, it will be 9, 17, and 20 seconds. And beep, beep, beep. And it would be 10-second intervals of telling the time. And that was there 24 hours. But it's going to be discontinued because, surprise, surprise, no one uses it. Because we have so many devices with us these days that all have clocks on them. Who needs a talking clock? Because there's virtually no one goes out without some sort of mobile device that has the time on it. So you don't need the talking clock. Dr. Obama, do I think there's ever been a sane liberal leader? Well, that's weird when you look at them in comparison, because I remember, I'm old enough just to remember the 70s, and the Liberal Prime Minister who was integral in overthrowing the Whitlam government, getting the Governor General to sack the elected government, Malcolm Fraser. He was regarded as a fascist and whatnot, but in retrospect, he's really progressive. I mean, he was those traditional big L liberal things of being very anti-union, but he was instrumental in accepting a wave of refugees to Australia from Southeast Asia, people who were displaced because of our foreign policy, i.e. the Vietnam War. And he saw it as a moral responsibility to take these refugees into Australia. And there are people in the modern Liberal Party who still hate him for that. So, yeah. But, you know, who was after him? They had a couple loser opposition leaders who lost against Hawke and Keating. And then little Johnny Howard, who's a piece of fucking shit. And he is personally directly responsible for the racism at the core of Australian public discourse. He is the one who made racism into an electoral wedge in the 90s with blatant fucking lies about refugees and asylum seekers, children overboard, which was proven to be, it was not only proven to be a lie, it was proven that they knew they were lying when they said it, and they never suffered any repercussions. But John Howard is responsible. He tried. He didn't get everything he wanted, but he really tried to fucking destroy workers' rights. And he's responsible for putting racism at the center of Australian public discourse. He's fucking garbage. That's right, Justin. Malcolm Fraser actually resigned from the Liberal Party in the protest of where they ended up before he died. Yes. And we have the little Johnny, of course. They go into opposition. You have Turnbull's opposition leader, then Abbott as opposition leader. Abbott, you know, is fucking deranged. It ended up being very surprising how spineless Turnbull was. I always thought he was a self-obsessed wanker, but it was amazing how spineless he was. We want a smiley face to counteract the alt-right edgy bullshit. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's this really weird juggling thing with fucking edgelord fuckheads who go like, "Ooh, I'm saying offensive things just to get in people's faces. Oh, yeah, I've triggered the libs." It's just like fucking. And on the one level, engaging with them at all seems to be a waste of time. But I'm for actively deplatforming. Once they start pushing their racism and misogyny and fucking hate speech, trying to normalize hate speech, like, no, it's been proven that deplatforming these wankers works. We need to basically say, well, you can't use public forums to advocate for hate. Fuck you. Lion Spider, how are you going? You do tend to bait them. Not surprised that you get threats from them. You do tend to bait them, and which I'm a fan of. Adele, you had a Star Trek delivery at 9 p.m. Good God. That is pretty wild. Well, that's an interesting one, Mr. Foxification. You're going to go off-grid for a while, which is probably good for your mental health, quite honestly. Every time I hear about someone goes like, I quit Twitter for a month, they just talk about how much better they felt afterwards, how much clearer they felt their thinking was. Yeah, even, God, I fight battles every day, like, you know, not engaging with people doing really dumb shit on Facebook, but occasionally just not being able to help myself. When someone posts something that's dumb as fuck, just going, you know, this is not actually true, right? You know it isn't true. You just posted a thing that it's quite easy to prove is not true. And these are people who will be both on the left and the right and in the center. People just post dumb shit all the time. What do I think of John Hewson? Well, obviously, I just, you know, opposed Hewson on ideological lines because, you know, he was a hard right economic rationalist. But to the best of my knowledge, he didn't really preach the bigotry that's become the norm for the Liberal Party. But I mean, I opposed him on economic grounds, certainly. And it was fucking hilarious when Paul Keating beat him when no one thought he would. Sapa, we did have that discussion about the Sri Lanka bombings. The only thing we know for sure about the Sri Lanka bombings is they were carried out by worthless fucking terrorist pieces of shit. Yes. Fucking garbage. The people behind it, yeah, Islamic extremists are going to attack the Christians on their holiday. Fucking garbage. You know, my whole views on Christianity and holidays are a completely different thing. But those attacks were just the most despicable, gutless terrorism. Just utter filth, those people. But yeah, as I did actually say, be very wary of pronouncements from the Sri Lankan government because they are absolutely not trustworthy. But yeah, it seems almost obvious that radical Islamists would be very incensed by the mosque shootings in Christchurch and start demanding, you know, retaliation. So it is actually perfectly plausible, but yeah, I think it's easier to just say they're extremist, terrorist pieces of fucking shit, absolute filth. Yeah, using their religion to justify that sort of wholesale murder, they're just fucking scum. Mr. I reckon you're left out of the anti-SJW mob mentality circle on YouTube. Much leave because you listen to the others. Look, that whole thing about engaging with people. The thing is, this alt-right crowd, the overwhelming majority, like 90+%, are bad faith actors. In that engaging with them is worse than a waste of time, because their goal is just to waste your fucking time. Their goal is to derail conversations. The goal is to increase tensions, increase conflict. So engaging with them is incredibly counterproductive, and it's worse than a waste of time. Someone I fundamentally disagree with, who I thought was genuine in their position and wanted genuine discussion, I would engage with. But like I said, and I know this from repeated experience over many years, the overwhelming majority, close to all of these, alt-right types, bad faith actors. Engaging with them is a complete waste of time. And in fact, their mission is obvious often to deliberately waste your time. So fuck them. But yeah, I have no trouble engaging with someone I fundamentally disagree with if I feel like they're being genuine and they want to say, well, okay, why do you disagree with this? I think this is important for this reason. Tell me why you think the opposite is important. And I will answer. It's just that they're trolls. They're almost to a person trolls, and they're wasting time. So you see, okay, the far right, they're all bigots. But the thing is, they're also, as I'm saying, it's not more important, but it's equally important to know they're also bad faith actors. Trying to engage with them is a waste of time. I mean, Jesus, like so much, all power to people like ContraPoints, who make incredibly well-researched, in-depth videos exploring the big talking points of the day and essentially debunking alt-right bullshit. And just putting it out there because it might reach someone. Someone might see it and go, ooh, wait, Jesus, those points were just laid out. Oh my God, she's actually right. All this stuff I've been saying, because people told me to say it, the way she debunked it, oh my God, it's right. Fucking more power. And also like Kev Logan, who I've had on a couple of live streams, he has a long-running series called The Descent of Manosphere, where he takes apart these fuckwits on the extreme right manosphere and their lies. And he did a recent one on all their reactions to the Christchurch terrorist attack and how the garbage. And I did a bit for him. I recorded a bit of Fraser Anning's statement as, I was being Fraser Anning. I did it in full bogan. Not saying that's the best part of the video, but okay. You're heading off, Adele. Thanks for dropping by. But yeah, so Kev included my impersonation of Fraser Anning in the video, but he had all these, including a bunch of people. I have no idea who they are, but they're all scum. And when I was watching his video, which goes for about half an hour, and it's got all these little grabs of these videos, I think, oh my God, how many hours of this shit did you subject yourself to? I couldn't do that. That's the one thing, is like, fuck me. Dr. Obama, yes, I'm talking about Kevin Logan. He's been on the live stream a couple times. He said he was going to come on the election night live stream. It'll be Saturday morning for him and Saturday night for me. He said he might come on that, which would be fun. But But yeah, I mean, Kev goes to all the trouble of watching these fuckwits and debunking them. And I just think it's mind poison. He's just he's stronger than me, basically. I look at these fucking garbage trolls and just go, I'm not subjecting myself to watching. That's like people say because so many of these fuckheads have done these attack videos on me, and people going, "Oh, why don't you respond?" And I'm going like, dude, I'm just not subjecting myself to watching 15 to 30 minutes of these fuckwits. Oh God, this is my life. My life is precious. My time is precious. You know, I think I'd rather be slamming my dick in a car door than watching these fuckwits. So they can say whatever they want. I just don't give a shit. So this is someone like Kev who can actually fucking subject himself to what these idiots say to debunk them. I'm like, ooh, again, you're stronger than me, buddy. That's all I can say. Oh, we're talking about celebrities. Safi, yes, the comedian in Ukraine who was playing president in a comedy series on Ukraine TV is now elected president of Ukraine. But some people say he's pro-Putin, and some people say he's quite progressive. And I don't know that much about him. Yes, California did elect Arnie Schwarzenegger as the governor. Yes, and Peter Garrett, the pop rock star, got elected here. Hey, fucking Ronald Reagan got elected president. You know, Jesus. Mr. Anon, yes. Oh, look, they are bullies in the most base sense. And you always get told when you're a kid that bullies are cowards, and yeah, really. And then a bully punches the shit out of you, and you go, that didn't seem that cowardly. He like really fucking laid into me. But those alt-right fuckheads, they're like that archetype of a bully, and that they are cowards. They're bullies, and they're obnoxious things, but they're fucking cowards. The keyboard warriors. Dr. Obama, I do not watch Isaac Butterfield. What did he talked about in his newest video? I did see one of my friends posted on Facebook. He went to town against Fraser Anning, which was nice to see. I like you. Embrace your own uniqueness rather than be active in your dislike of others. That's why when people talk about, I hate this like movie, book, TV show, I have very little interest in people going on about what they don't like. I'm interested in people telling me what they love, what they're passionate about. I don't give a shit what TV show, movie, music, book you hate. I'm really only interested in what you love. Oh, sorry. So I was going to say that same thing. Safi, you said Fraser Anning got censored by the Senate. No, he was censured, as Miss Foxification said. Basically, and a lot of his followers made that mistake because censured sounds like censored. He's not stopped from saying anything. Censure means the senator saying, you're a fucking wanker. You brought us all into disrepute. You're a piece of shit, and we rebuke you for being a piece of shit. I've heard that somewhere. What if you walk in on your bully fucking your mum, though? I feel like I've heard that somewhere. Lions Buddy, you were going to Christian Brothers School. You had the bullies who cowards. I mean, I got into a couple fights at Catholic school. Oh my God, is he being a victim? Sorry, Dr. Brown, so you followed up Butterfield's being a victim, crying about Barry Humphrey's name getting removed from an award because he's a piece of shit. Oh, progressive comedy. It's all Hannah Gadsby's fault. Well, dude, she's better than you. I mean, that's a simple, unequivocal fact. Isaac Butterfield has a strong, hardcore audience, and good for him for that. Hannah Gadsby has a global audience, dwarfs dwarfs his audience probably more than his audience dwarfs mine. And his audience definitely dwarfs mine. No two ways about it. I'm not critiquing him for his audience, but if you're going to act like a victim, then, you know, fuck you. Oh, David, I see you bring up Italian politics. La Cicciolina, the porn star Alona Stolla, did in fact get elected in Italian politics. My favorite, it's probably close to my favorite restaurant in Melbourne, is named after her. There's the Alona Stolla restaurant in, what's the suburb called? How did you get wet? What did you do? Sorry, I'm patting Mimsy and she's wet. What did you put your head on? You're weird. Gross. No? You're going to come up here? Nobody, you've come in. Oh, last half hour, mate. Last half hour. It's not raining at the moment in Melbourne, but it might tonight or tomorrow. Oh, yeah, Frankie. Yeah, Russell Howard called Silvio Berlusconi a sex pest. Here's these bunga bunga parties. Berlusconi should be in jail for sexual exploitation of minors. That's like a known thing. But yes. Did I actually say that in English? I got distracted. Porn star restaurant named How Did You Get Wet? Mimsy distracted me with her wet head. Possibly because I'm defrosting this little freezer behind me. She might have stuck her head in there. Yeah, no, so the same people own Alona Stolla, and the one they previously opened was actually called La Cicciolina. So they're both named after, her nickname was La Cicciolina. Her real name's Alona Stolla. My favorite one's Alona Stolla. It's in like East St Kilda, Balaclava. It's great food, great cocktails. Often a destination for date night for me and Mrs. Angry. David, yeah, I'm not that familiar with Cult of Dusty. I know he's been around for a long time. And yeah, Friendly Geordies. It's kind of funny because it's obvious when you look at Friendly Geordies, there's an enormous chunk of stuff that our views are basically the same, but I also think there's some stuff where we differ. That's what I heard, Frankie, that Dusty was a real shitlord for a couple of years, and he kind of woke up to how empty all of that was and got his shit together. Which is an interesting sort of arc, because often people who go off into this shitlord stuff just get worse because people attack them and go, how fucking dare you say that? And then they get super defensive and get worse. And Spider, you like Geordie's impression of truffles. Who are we calling truffles in this case? I kind of think it's funny that Friendly Geordies has an ongoing war with that show on Channel 10, The Project, because, you know, he's been very direct in his language. He's attracted the ire of the more sedate media people, saying they were comparing him to PewDiePie. One of the funniest things is someone called him Pewdie Meat Pie, which I thought was hilarious. Not particularly accurate, but funny. Oh, that's right. The way he used to do Malcolm Turnbull with the face powder and the wig and everything. So I'm going to try one of these. This is the candy with ants. Can't see any ants in that piece. I want a piece with ants in it. Probably won't taste like ants. Probably just tastes like sugar. Yes, I don't know if you can see the little dark bits in this one. Ants. Okay. Oh my God, that's really sweet. Certainly doesn't taste like ants. It's just super sweet. Frank, I'm talking about Channel 10, TV station in Australia, has a show called The Project that Friendly Geordie seems to be at war with, because they fucking dissed him on national TV. So they started it. So I think he's fully justified in going after. I don't watch The Project, so I don't really know what they're like, but they went him, so he goes them. Mr. Owner, you think he's... I think Friendly Geordie... I'm trying to think. I think it's safe to say he has done stuff very dismissive and derisive of feminists, which is of course going to attract the alt-right shitlords, which he would reject them wholeheartedly on almost everything. But I also think, and maybe someone who knows him better than me would contradict this, but I also think he would run 100 miles from the term intersectional politics, which I think is actually quite important. Like I said, someone who knows him better than me might correct me on that. But that's just the impression I've got when he's talking about feminists and also race issues in Australia. He's been quite dismissive from what I've seen. So yes, Safa, the project is like left-wing, but they're sort of more establishment. So Friendly Geordie's very loud ways seem to have upset them. So I don't really know the detail, but yeah, something like that. David, what do you think of Clive Barker's comeback? Clive Palmer's comeback. I think Clive Palmer's a worthless piece of shit, and he should be in jail for stealing wages. But that's just me. Okay, there's a bit of ant in my mouth now. Feel under my tongue. You're back now, Missy. I've been going around being weird. Yes, yes. She just wants attention. Yes, she does. Yes. Jake and I see what you're saying, Frank. Team 10 was Jake and Logan Paul attacking Friendly Geordies. No, who are they? They're friends with Raka Raka, who are these wild Australian dudes who they'd done a lot of stunt and special effects stuff in Australian film and TV, and they started a YouTube channel years ago where they just do really messed up shit with stunts and special effects. And I mean, I've hung out with them once. And they're pretty funny. I don't really know what they're like as people. I think I only hang out with them the once. They're pretty funny. But they're friends with Logan Paul. He's the younger one, isn't he? They're friends with Logan Paul. And they've hung out at his house when they were in LA. So, bit of trivia. Aussie YouTubers who are pals with Logan Paul. Yeah. So one of those funny things, like I often think, like there are real pieces of shit on YouTube who have a big audience. And people have said, "Oh, would you do something with this person?" Or like, you know, and it's a ridiculous abstract, because like people can say, "Oh, would you do a video with PewDiePie?" I think PewDiePie is an irresponsible shithead who needs to grow the fuck up and fucking take responsibility for what he does. But see, I can glibly say I would, just because of, you know, he's been a shithead and won't take responsibility and won't do the right thing. I'd never do anything with PewDiePie because he's never going to ask me to. He's never going to ask me to. So I can act all superior going, "Oh, I wouldn't care if you PewDiePie wanted to promote me to his audience, I'd say no, because he's not going to. It would be really glib of me to say that. Same as, Jake Paul or Logan Paul. Would you do something with Jake Paul or Logan Paul? No, definitely not. They're terrible. Also, they're never gonna fucking ask, so I can act all superior and morally sound by saying they're terrible. I wouldn't, because they're never gonna ask me. I think it was the comedian Jim Jeffries who was saying Woody Allen's a piece of shit and everyone in Hollywood should condemn him and refuse to work with him. Roman Polanski drugged and raped an underage girl. Everyone in Hollywood and the world should condemn him and refuse to work with him. He goes, I'd certainly never work with either of them. And then he sort of turns to the camera too and goes, yes, that's the only reason I've never been in a Roman Polanski or Woody Allen film, because of my moral standpoint. It's really, you can say all these things about I'd never work with them because they're terrible. They're ridiculous. Oh, so that's a fun one. I probably want to do a video about it. There's this interesting political story in Australia that might get huge, that might do the government serious damage in this election campaign. And it's reasonably complex, and it's got to do with, it's been called water buybacks. Water rights being bought and sold, and damage done to a major river ecosystem as a result, and possible outright corruption from senior political figures, and it could really, really bite them. And of course, this is my favorite bit of this. This is the bit that cracks me up. Like, you know how journalists are super fucking lazy, that ever since Watergate in the 70s brought down Richard Nixon, and that was about the break-in at the Watergate Hotel. Every scandal they've named whatever gate. It's a thing gate. And because this one is about water, so they're calling it Australia's Watergate, which is fucking ridiculous, and I love it. I love it. It's stupid, and I love it. Was that Frankie? Ricegum begged iDubbbz for a content cop. Oh God, yeah. See, that's the thing. Oh my God, for those people who've built a career on YouTube and the fucking ground keeps shifting under them, the stress must be terrible, and they do dumb, stupid things, desperate things to maintain the public eye. Ugh, that's why I can't really be bothered with trying to actively promote my channel. I just have fun. Anything beyond that seems too stressful. I'll keep my day job and just do YouTube for fun, because anything else seems too stressful. Although, Spider, you watched the Watership Down on Netflix. I watched that when it came out. Yes. And I kind of agree with you that the old animation is a bit darker. I think the Netflix Watership Down is pretty good. There are elements of the old animation that were even darker, but I think they did a good job with that Netflix Watership Down, actually. Yeah, Barnaby Joyce is at the center. The guy who was, I think, in charge of the National Party at the time it happened, and the Liberal Resources Minister, they're both implicated in this deal over this water. It could be quite bad, like it could be criminal. It might not be. It might just be really fucking inept policy. There's a whole thing about this. It's quite complicated. The best outcome for them is that it's determined to be incredibly incompetent, just really bad policy. Really bad policy resulted in a really bad outcome. The worst outcome for them is it does get regarded as criminal corruption, which is definitely possible. But it's super complicated, and the people at the center of it are very litigious, so I'm not going to make any accusations. I'm just saying they've got the good end of their spectrum is they're super incompetent, and their policy resulted in a fucking terrible outcome, that's the best for them. That they're just so fucking useless, they got a really bad outcome. The worst outcome is straight up criminal corruption. So there we go. We'll see what happens there. Yeah, I think you're right that you got my estimates, Frankie, on who's more stupid. Barnacle Juice is even more stupid than Abbott, who's more stupid than Trump. Yeah, I think they're even more disconnected from reality than Trump is, and that's saying something. Oh my God, that's the funniest thing. Like the more details of the Mueller report getting released, which highlighted there's all kinds of shit happening in the Trump camp. Like that summary that his stooge attorney general released was obviously complete horseshit. But Mueller's appears to have gone very conservative and said, look, we don't want to say there's anything indictable here, but we've gathered a bunch of evidence. Someone else might come up with indictments based on this evidence. So I don't know. I think the Democrats should go super aggressive on it. But probably my favorite, it's a toss-up of my favorite things that have come out in the analysis of what's been released in the Mueller report. One, that great quote from Trump when he's told there's going to be an investigation. He goes, "This is a disaster. This is the end of my presidency. I'm fucked," which is totally what an innocent person would say. But my second favorite is there's repeated references to, look, we think the Russians were really actively trying to be involved in the Trump campaign, but his key staffers, like his lawyer, were too fucking incompetent to get it together. And the second thing is, we believe Trump made a bunch of orders to his staff that would almost definitely count as criminal obstruction of justice, but his staff refused to carry out the orders. It's like Trump just said some crazy shit like, fire that person, stop this, do that. And they were like, what? And he said, do it. And they were just like, I'm not fucking doing that. That's fucking criminal. And they were just like, to his face, they were like, okay. And then they just didn't do it. So it would be super hilarious if Trump was spared from a criminal prosecution for obstruction of justice because his staff just refused to follow his order. Imagine that. The President of the United States gives unequivocal directions to his staff, and his staff just go, fuck off. No way. Or to his face, they go, and then they just leave the room going, no fucking way. No fucking way. No way am I doing that. Because they know it's criminal. And they go, I'm not going to jail for this fucker. No way. I mean, that's the weird fucking world we live in. We're looking at the possibility of the only thing that saves Trump from criminal prosecution for obstruction of justice is his staff refusing to carry out his orders. It's super fucking weird. You came back for a bit of attention for really. But the thing is, I mean, obviously, you know, politically there was a huge amount of focus on, did Trump actively collude with Russia to an extent where he or his operatives could be prosecuted as being undeclared agents of Russia. And the second one was obstruction of justice. Can we prove criminal obstruction of justice on them? And maybe not. But you look at what's happened so far, and it appears very straightforward that it would be trivial to find evidence of criminal activity with Trump and his group. And that's why there's been so many convictions. Like 6 to 8 people very close to him have all been convicted or pled guilty the charges now. And the idea that Trump wouldn't get convicted if you launched just a thing into criminal behavior, like dodgy real estate deals, like a Russian oligarch buying a Trump apartment for 10 times its face value, stuff like this. The idea that he wouldn't be found guilty of criminal activity. Christ, of course he would be. But people thought the whole Russia thing and obstruction of justice was juicier. God, the idea of him being found not guilty if you launched a criminal investigation into him is far-fetched, to say the least. But Mother also came down on the side of, well, there's precedent that basically says you can't indict a sitting president. That's why it's just said, here's all the evidence. We're not doing any indictment of him. But now the Democrats have the potential to have their own inquiries, to call witnesses, and to have their own investigations. And people who either lie or refuse to comply can be charged. Things. So did Russia entice WikiLeaks? Well, we now have unequivocal evidence. WikiLeaks actively worked to disseminate stuff with it. They actively worked to do stuff that they believed would hurt the Clinton campaign, and they didn't do a single goddamn thing that could have been perceived to hurt Trump. Assange and his stooges at WikiLeaks have outed themselves to be completely untrustworthy, completely biased, and completely self-serving. This whole idea that, oh, he's a journalist. No, he's not. He's a fucking stooge. He's a piece of shit. He's become completely partisan and completely untrustworthy. Is just, anyone who still worships Assange or WikiLeaks needs their fucking head read. Oh, sorry, Frankie. Trump praised WikiLeaks more than 100 times, literally. During his election campaign, he said positive things about WikiLeaks more than 100 times. And then when Assange was arrested, because he knows the whole establishment wants to extradite and prosecute Assange, and one of the journalists shouting at Trump, Mr. President, what do you think about Julian Assange being arrested? What do you think about WikiLeaks? He's going, I don't really know anything about WikiLeaks. Like, he just blatantly lies. He just blatantly lies and is not held to account for it. It's just, it's borderline embarrassing. Like, there's recorded evidence of Trump actively, directly praising WikiLeaks over 100 times, and then he's president and Assange is getting arrested, and what's your view? Go, I've never heard of WikiLeaks, I don't know anything about them. It's just like, fuck that noise. It's just ridiculous, and just the stupidity of it all really gets to me, quite honestly. And that's why when people say, will Trump get re-elected in 2020? I don't fucking know. Like, anyone who says they know what's going to happen is talking shit, because nothing makes sense. Trump getting the Republican nomination doesn't make sense. Him getting elected doesn't make sense. Him still not getting prosecuted doesn't make sense. Nothing makes sense. Trying to apply intelligence or common sense to anything that happens is ridiculous. Anyone who says they know what's going to happen is talking shit. So fuck knows what's going to happen, basically. And on that cheery note, I'm going to go to bed. I've got a plumber coming at like 7:30 in the morning. The problem with my sink over there. David Hill, what's my opinion of Norton and Manning? I think I will quickly say this. I think their motivations are considerably more pure than Julian Assange's. I think Manning was really naive. Uh, um, I think Norton was very self-sacrificing, and Assange is very self-serving. But anyway, going to good night. Take care of yourself, one and all. Hope to see you again soon. I'm maybe going to go and visit Aidsy again in hospital tomorrow. I went and saw him yesterday, and he likes getting visitors, so I might go see him tomorrow, all things being equal. Might even get a video out of him. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? You might see Aidsy on your screens. But whatever, I hope you all look after yourselves. I hope to see you again sometime very soon. And I'll say bye for now.